Ladies and gentlemen, Domnic Fernandes and Goa 1556 present to you the book about your own village, Village Anjuna Vignettes from Goa. The name Anjuna or Onnuna or Hanjun may instantly draw some thoughts to your mind. They may be good, bad, or even ugly. For reasons known and unknown, you may have painted a picture of this scenic village based on what you have heard and know about it. But can you affirm the facts? Today, what you're going to witness is nothing less than history. In fact, it is the compilation of history. Over 1,000 days of research and more than 100 interviews have been filtered to churn out a 392-page book about Anjuna, Village Anjuna Vignettes from Goa. And who better could author this book than the son of the soil, Mr. Domnic P.F. Fernandes. Relax, this is just one person. However, Mr. Domnic himself will agree that there have been more minds and hands working behind his dream. Among them is the editor and publisher of this book, Mr. Frederick Nerona of the publishing house Goa 1556. Mr. Nerona, fondly known by his initials FN, is a senior journalist turned publisher. He is an avid blogger, very active on the web, and a person who just can't say no to you in spite of being buried with work. He has the knack of making things better, and he's always bursting with new ideas. In fact, he helped me in a small way to host this program. He said, Patterson, it's your hometown. Kata re baji. FN, I'm trying to do that. So, before I spill the beans about Domnic's book, I would request its editor and publisher, Mr. Frederick Nerona, to formally welcome the gathering.
A warm good evening to everyone and happy feast also. To bring out a book like this is a great pleasure because we feel we are contributing to capturing the knowledge which would otherwise have got dissipated and not been there together in one place. So I'd really, without taking much time, want to welcome each and every one of you to this function.
The book makes historical references which in times to come, which at present itself it is lost, and in times to come it will be completely lost. And I thank Domnic for making an effort to keep this through his book for our future generation. When I went to the book, one thing is sure, Domnic has put lot of pains in bringing this vast volume about village Anjuna. And therefore, I feel Anjunkas are fortunate to be Noshibwant because a person like Domnic was born in this village. And first he gave us his Goa, his impression about Goa. Today he is giving us a complete details of the village of his birth, that is Anjuna.
I would like to read the foreword of this book written by Professor Newman Fernandes, ex-principal of St. Xavier's College, Mapusa. Professor Newman, an experienced academician, has closely read the book and explains it perfectly well. He writes, and I quote, I don't know who coined the proverb, Anjuna fude gauna ani Anjun karang nauna. Most probably the neighbors. The first paragraph, or the first part, is a geographical statement, but the second part of the proverb is quite provocative and may invite retaliation. This book itself is an indication that the second part does not reflect today's reality. In the last paragraph of the second chapter, amidst the sea and the hills, the author writes that every chapter will encourage the reader to finish reading the book without closing it. Rightly so, I started reading this book and all its 392 pages, but had no peace until I could go through all the pages. My warm congratulations to the author, Mr. Domnic P.F. Fernandes, for undertaking a deep study of his own village and record with great accuracy the enthusiasm, what he has seen, and what he has discovered through anthropological tools. This is a book of reference, and researchers will find abundant material for further investigation. At the same time, the language is simple and attractive for the common man, or for that matter, any reader. Each family from Anjuna should have a copy of this book and their house, and when they meet their friends, they must gift a copy of this interesting book to them. This book documents many institutions and realities that have been part and parcel of Goan life and either have disappeared or are on the verge of extinction, such as Voijinmai, Lojas, Escolas Paroquiais, Poder, Chari, Mest, Mistri, Pedo, Batkar, Boilanchi Gadi, Gorzawi, Regidor, Jadu, Gaonkar, Vadekar, Madanchi Feni, Ajut, Disht, Alment, Ventos, Mirni, Fozne, Koyar Marpi, Kundia Chipoi, Kakon, Zagor, Madanche God, Gorshung, Zod, Khobre, Mita Chikonki, Dukrachi Chorisa, Rinte, Bar Yatalo, and so on.
History, as just now Tobansin has given you about this book, it is said, history is the story of past, which we read today to make better future. So all the books, all the literature which comes is for us something to be better later. And if Domnic has taken so much of pain to go around to interview, and some places, as the book has said, as the interview reviews have said, he could not get a proper answer for his question. But even then, he has done his great, marvelous part. We are proud of you, Domnic, and we have such a great person in Anjuna. I'm happy.
I have been associated with him since my birth, since he is my godfather. And I'm very happy to witness and go through this commendable task that he has undertaken. The author of this book, Village Anjuna, Sri Domnic Fernandes, has penned down the beautiful aspects of the bygone era of Anjuna. He has been very eloquent in bringing out his experiences, observations, and emotions through his writing. Sri Domnic has probed into the ancestral life, the edifices, the architecture, customs and traditions of village Anjuna, and most specifically delved into its research.
Domnic's book gives you detailed information on each and every aspect of Anjuna. You name a thing in Anjuna and you will find the information, answers in his book, because he has not only gathered information, he has also tried to reason out why this is happening, and therefore such that reasoning out also is coming out very strongly in the book.
पण डॉमनिकान जे पुस्तक बरयलां तातूंत सामाजीक सांस्कृतीक त्या सगळ्याची मिसळ आसा आनी म्हणून ती कोणाकूय वाचपाक आवडटली. जरी ते जवळ जवळ 400 पानांचे असले तरी ते म्हाका दिसता एकदा घेवन बसले जाल्यार सोंपसर तुमी ते बंद करचे ना. ज्या वाड्यार ही कार्यावळ सुरू आसा तेका खंय 24 नांवां आसात आनी ह्या पुस्तकान 25 प्रकरणां आसात. ती खरें जर 24 आसलेली जाल्यार बॅलन्स जावपाचें. हातून ह्या गांवच्या सगळ्या वावराचो ताणें आस्पाव केला. ह्या वाड्याक 9 नांवांनी वळखतात. हातून शीर काडपी, वखदां दिवपी वैज, इस्कॉलाची म्हायती आसा, पावसाची तयारी लोक कशे करताले, 60 लोकांचें घर. म्हाका दिसता पयलो पॉलिटिशियन तेंच्याच घराक भेट दितलो. गांवचे लोक, शेतकार, गांवची चर्च, खेळ, गांवचें नांव काडपी लोक, अशी सगळी म्हायती ताणें दिल्या. ही माहिती भायल्याकूच न्हय तर घडये ह्या गांवच्या मनशाकूय नवी आसूं शकता. ती वाचतना ह्या गांवाची नव्या आंगान वळख जाता. हो गांव तसो नितळ दर्याचे वारें घेत वावरपी, पूण हिप्पी लोकांनी जितलो हो गांव संवसाराक फामाद केलो तितलोच तांच्या वांगडा तांच्यांनी कांय वायट गजाली सुद्दां हाडल्यो आनी कदाचित ताका लागून ह्या गांवाक नजर लागली. ट्युरिस्ट लोकां खातीर ह्या गांवाची खूब उदरगत जाली. फ्ली मार्केट आयलें, हॉटेलां आयलीं, टॅक्सीचो धंदो वाडलो, गांवाची दिशा बदलूंक लागली. आनी त्याच वेळार डॉमनिका सारको मनीस विचार करूं लागलो, गांवचो मनीस बदलूंक लागलो काय कितें? आनी ह्या प्रश्नांतल्यान कदाचित तेणी हें पुस्तक हातीन घेतलें.
No one knows the book Village Anjuna better than the author himself. Domnic P.F. Fernandes grew up in Anjuna and studied there at Mapusa. He worked in Goa at the old secretariat from 1967 to 71 and in Bahrain as a manager of a firm from 1972 to 80. Since 1981, he worked at the Professional English Language Program and College Preparatory Program of Saudi Aramco in Saudi Arabia as advisor cum chief registrar. He retired from this post in 2007. He was also a leading Konkani stage actor in Bahrain and was actively involved with the Young Goan Youth Sports Club in the 1970s that included serving as its general secretary. While in Saudi Arabia, he discovered the net and posted some of his writings on goanet.com. In return, he became the internet's find. The astounding response encouraged him to write more. This has added up to 3 books of reminiscence, Domnic's Goa, Mapusa Yesterday and Today, and Village Anjuna, and also one on Konkani sayings, Dispottem, Chintop. What sets Domnic apart is his amazing memory, his eye for detail, and a willingness to painstakingly share what he knows about yesterday's Goa.
The purpose of this book is to document life in Anjuna as it existed over half a century ago. How Anjunkas coped with challenges of life in more trying times, what they did for living and how they lived contentedly in those times even despite this scarcity. Many have asked me, why do you write on old subjects? It is because it gives me great pleasure to write on things that are otherwise forgotten. We will all agree that there is a need to preserve the history of Anjuna in the written form so that it is remembered and understood over generations. I have made every effort to present to the reader the way things actually were. As many of us from the village will have heard, Anjuna is connected with Muslim world because prior to the arrival of the Portuguese, there was a small seaport by the Shapora River where the Arabs brought in their spices and other commodities, including Arab horses, which were offloaded at the port and then supplied to the kings in Hindustan. At that time, Hanjamana was a trading sea route of Arabs. There are other things worth talking about when it comes to the yesterdays of our lives. We had tempestuous rains for which we had to make provision from rice to chilies, from coconuts to copra and oil, from salt to tamarind, etc.
So I think from both point of view, we find that this book really is a great contribution. At the same time, what do I see in this book? I see that Domnic has documented all those individuals who have contributed to the village of Anjuna. He has managed to capture all the significant events in the history of Anjuna. All the customs and traditions, the folk tales, different types of things that we have forgotten, which has already been mentioned by the previous speakers. Also important structures and institutions. Many of these structures, many of these institutions will crumble in the next few years. Already many have crumbled. And I think it's very important that in his book he has documented all these. And I think one thing he has managed to bring out, that Anjuna is much more than just a land of hippies, just a land of tourism. That is the general perception all of us have. And in fact, that's the perception I also had of Anjuna. But after going through his book, you find that there is much more to Anjuna than just, the hippie culture. And though of course he does mention in his book that it is because of the hippies that Anjuna got worldwide attention. So that there is no doubt about it. But at the same time, we also know the side effects that have come in.
A very big thank you to our guest, Reverend Dr. Savio Abreu, Mr. Tommasino Cardozo, Mr. Ramdas Kelkar, Father Thomas Gonsalves, and Mrs. Aveline Dancho.